I'm out in Mallorca where Princess Motor Yacht Sales have got this rather lovely Princess 68th sail. It's got the grey hull, which is interesting. And this is a boat that I particularly like because of just how much they've got into a sub 70-foot boat. They really have packed it into these, and yet it doesn't feel at all cramped. So I'm going to take you on board and show you exactly what I mean. And we board via this passerelle. Now, you've heard me talk about stern to berthing before, and passerelles, well, this is one in action. So we can step onto here, and you can see that this actually retracts all the way in through that letterbox. That's why it's called letterbox style. And as it goes in, these drop flat. You don't have to do anything with them. Just push the button, and as it retracts, they drop, and the whole lot disappears from sight, which is very clever. And as ever, the first thing we find is this aft cockpit. Big overhang on these, so plenty of shelter, which for areas like this, of course, is fantastic, because you can sit out here, as you can see today, in the shade. These tables, they fold over, so that if you don't want the big dining table there, you don't have to have it. You can just have a smaller square in the centre, or have it out as it is at the minute for dining. Anyway, let's go and take a look inside, and we'll work our way through the whole boat. Now, the nice thing with Princess is that you kind of know exactly what to expect, and it never lets you down. They've always got this really lovely finish and the really nice materials and this really comfortable ambience. Now, these saloon doors, I opened just the one there. We're keeping them closed because it's a baking hot day today. It's about 35 degrees. And we've got the air conditioning on, but you can open that, and so that whole area opens up completely. This is a galley aft layout, as you can see just here. So it's got the cooking. This one's got one of those combination conventional oven, microwave and grill, and it's got the 4-burner hob. Big fridge freezer on this one. A lot of Princess detailing like these, specially shaped drawers for your cutlery. And then if you look over here, similar sort of thing then for your crockery. You'll notice these are the proper little Princess logoed cups. And even things like your plates are well catered for down there. You can see these little fellas, these are to hold everything in place so when you're going along they don't start rattling against each other. And also in here, nice feature, there is proper dishwasher. And what they've done with this boat is they've segregated it into separate areas. So this is like a sort of almost like a kitchen diner. You can of course use it as a lounge area if you want to, use it however you want, but it does mean that you've got this area for eating and this area for lounging. And if you are eating here, of course, this table will fold all the way out like that to give you a massive dining table. You could put a couple of director's chairs on this side and get plenty of people around there. I actually think it looks nice like that because you've got that lovely finish and you've got those cup holders that appear. And then the saloon area, that's raised up just by one step, gives you a bit better view. We've got the blinds down at the moment because it is so hot out here. But that is a very comfortable area, nice deep seats. I like this little coffee table detail they've done with the hoop of wood over it, that's nice. And again, lots of nice little details like glasses storage in here. And then up ahead you've got a similar sort of thing. Pop-up TV, we usually see those in a down position, but this one's been raised up so we can see it. And then ice maker and a fridge. So that's for your drinks in this area. And if you look in here, that's your bottles, all segregated and everything where you know where it is. And then up ahead, another great little area up here, where some people might say you could tuck yourself away with a good book. But it's also brilliant because when you're out cruising, it is a couple of steps up again, you've got a terrific view out of the front, and you are up next to the helm. So that's great for people to gather when the boat's going along. You can all chat, you can see what's going on. And then this is your helm. Side access door on this one as well, which is nice. So if you're at the helm here and you come into berth, you can get straight out and onto the side deck. It's got the twin Raymarine screens. They've got the covers on at the minute to protect them from the sunshine. And things like the autopilot. You've got bow and stern thrusters underneath this one. Those are hydraulic actually, rather than electric. And even a little place where you can put a folded chart if you want to. Don't see that very often these days. And you'll notice this is all a low glare finish as well, so you don't get that sun that's on it now reflecting on the screens. Now the lower deck is split into two, so we can go down this way. And we'll have a quick look as we're passing, because this is the control panel for all the electrics. So all the things like the cabin lights, stateroom lights, navigation instruments, autopilot, these are all switched from here. This is the 24 volt side, and these are circuit breakers. So if there's a high load problem, these will flick off. And then on this side, this is your 230 volt systems, so cabin outlets, shaver points, washer and dryer, all that kind of stuff, all controlled from there. So when you're plugged into the marina, you've got your power onto the boat, or of course you can run a generator and get power that way. Let's head right on down to the front, because this is the VIP cabin. Very good size, and this is what I mean about the fact it doesn't really feel like there's any compromise on this boat, despite how much they've got into it. Loads of storage in here, so it's tucked away in places like behind the mirror. Up along here is storage. They've put a little drawer in underneath. That's the stereo system in behind here. And you've also got a TV in here, that's up fitted into the bulkhead, like so. And on the other side of the cabin, then there is a big wardrobe. They've even squeezed space underneath the bed, so underneath here, huge drawers for things like bedding. And of course, being the VIP cabin, it has its own ensuite. That's in behind this one. I like the way they finished this, that looks really good. Separate shower stall. You've got the nice Perrin & Rowe sink that you get on Princesses. I love all this, the way they've done that's really nice. And then of course your toilet is in here as well. So that is just for that cabin. These are the light switches, and you've also got individual air conditioning controls, so you can climate control that cabin separate to the other areas. And as we come further back, you've got day heads on this side. Again, great size, and again, separate shower stall. And there's a door in this one because that will lead through to cabin 3. Twin cabin, as you can see, but there's a button up here. I think this is an option, but this boat's been fitted with it. And that, if I hold it, you'll see how that one's moving across? I won't move it all the way because we're crushing the stuff on the table. Obviously you move that first. Let's power that back. But you get the idea. It means that you can slide that right across and make that into a double cabin rather than 2 singles if you want. And again, tons of storage, big wardrobe, and the AV equipment again. And that is that door into the day heads. So this can have that as an ensuite if you want. But that heads is shared with cabin 4. That's on this side. It's pretty much an identical cabin actually. And again, it has that power bed feature, which is nice. And all the usual accoutrements. But they are decent sized cabins, both of those. You wouldn't feel shortchanged in there. But as you may have noticed, no master cabin, and that's because we will find a separate entrance for that back here. So you've got your own private little area if you're the lucky owner of this fine ship. So we'll go down here, there's a big window in behind there. And the other thing just to mention as we're going past it is laundry facilities. But check this out. How nice is that? Again, no compromise. Just feels like a proper full-size big cabin. You've got a dressing table just there. If you're wondering what that is, that's just a bit of spare bedding that's been put in here for the moment. And you've also got a massive TV, and again, look at the finishes they put onto here. So you've got this dark wood against this light material. And it just finishes the boat off, it's beautiful. And as you'd expect, its own private ensuite. Big shower area. You've got cupboards underneath. And I suspect, yeah, in behind there as well. And your toilet, of course. Very nice. Very nicely done. And on the other side then, a nice little sofa. I love seats. Somebody told me those are officially called. So there we go, we learn something new every day. And then these wooden blinds and the windows behind. And we are, as I mentioned earlier, in Mallorca at the minute, where it is very hot and very sunny. There's a wardrobe in behind here, and there's another one then on the other side as well, of course, and there's storage all the way across underneath there. Excellent, but what a lovely cabin that is. Nice place to wake up in the morning. It's a lot of boat, isn't it, for under 70 feet? I think they've done really well with this. let's go and take a look around the outside, and we will of course finish up with engines and the crew cabin. That's a nice area though, isn't it? Excellent. Let's head on back. And we'll take a walk on around. Okay, so a couple of things I'd like to point out here. This little fella is a remote control for the Fusion stereo system, and this one is one of those safety lockers that has things like a manual bilge pump backup, so that handle there will allow you to manually pump the bilges. There's of course electric ones as well. There's pull handles for the fire extinguishing system. That's the automatic system in the engine room. You can fire it off manually if you need to. And then these are to cut the fuel off for generators and for the engines if it's ever needed. Let's take a walk around this way. Teak decks all the way around. Always a nice feature on a boat like this. If we head right up onto the front, this has got the bow cockpit area. So you've got a great seating area around the front. It's particularly useful, and I've said this before, but of course we can see it in action here. When you are stern to berth as we are at the minute, you can come and sit out here, and that is your view, as opposed to being in the cockpit, where your view is of course the key behind the boat. So that's why these are so popular for med-based boats, and of course sunbathing then on the front. And there is actually an escape hatch underneath here, so there's a panel you can pull down very easily in the forward cabin if you needed to get out of the accommodation and you couldn't get out the usual way. That is another route out. Electric anchor winch of course, and anchor chain lockers up here at the front. And this one has the hardtop on, which we'll see in a minute when we go up onto the Flybridge. So let's head back down this side. This little red fella, that's navigation light, green one on the other side of course. And there's a couple of other details to show you while we're here. This is the control for the passerelle, so that's where you can lift it up and down or wind it in and out to get it exactly how you want it. And also back here, this is throttle controls and thruster controls, and the idea of this is when you're stern to berthing, as we are here, especially short-handed, you can stand here and you can watch the boat in against the quay. You have the passerelle out, drop it in, straight off with the lines. Very useful feature. These silver discs, these are lights. Of course you can't see them on at the moment, but at night they illuminate these steps all the way up. And of course there's more lighting than up on the Flybridge, fitted into the hardtop, and also dotted around low level. You can see the switches for them here. There is a barbecue up here. Also up here you've got huge fridge, so you're well catered for. And there's even another ice maker. And that fella there, that's a little sink underneath there with a chopping board on the other side of it. Again, everything's so nicely detailed. Then up here, this area caters for a terrific dining area underneath the hardtop. Plenty of shade. Again, you can see that perfectly today, exactly how that works. And sunbathing out the back, where you want the sun. A lot of thought gone into where everything goes on these boats, so it works just so. Up on top of that, that's the radar. You've got a TV area up there as well, and navigation lights and that kind of stuff. And then if we go right to the front of here, you've got your upper helm. So you can drive the boat from up here. Terrific view out, as you can see. And on a day like today, this is where you would want to be for sure. Twin screens again, they've got the covers on them to protect them, but those are the Raymarine hybrid touch screens. Engine instrumentation is here, throttles, trim tabs, there's bow and stern thruster control, so everything you need to get to, you can get at from here. And then there is another little storage area just there. I think that's actually an ice chest as well. And finally you've got seating up here, and those cushions, if you wonder what those are for, those are because you can pull a sliding section out, drop those in and make that into a sun pad up next to the helm. Great when you're going along, so people can lounge there and have a chat in the shade. Very nice. And that's that view out across the front. Hello Mallorca. Very nice. Okay, let's go and have a look at some of the mechanical bits, like the engines for example. and then we'll finish up with the crew cabin. So we just need to move these chairs out of the way. Like so. There's Maggie taking it easy in the heat. And I think I'll pop my shoes on just for this bit. And this opens like this. Good, let's head on down. So down here, the first thing we find is the engineering space. So things like hydraulics, those thruster controls are in here. Generators are in here. It's got twin generators on here. Again, a big boat feature. And in fact, another thing it's got on here is a water maker. That's what this fella here is for. So it actually takes seawater, turns it into fresh water. Very useful feature. And then just plenty of storage, batteries, that kind of thing. That all lives down here. That's the control for that water maker. And then through this door, if we pull that, you'll see it moves all of the, I think they're called dogs. Those little fellas, I think that's what they're officially called. There's a window in this one as well, which is quite a good idea. And that then takes us into the engine room. Now these are a pair of MAN V12 engines. They're 1,400 horsepower each. They're giving the boat over 30 knots and a range of about 450 miles. That's at your normal cruising speed. If you drop the speed right back, of course, it'll go a lot further. This is typical Princess, the way they've racked out all of the air conditioning units along here. That's what I mentioned about different areas having different climate control, because you can see stateroom, forward cabin, starboard cabin, port cabin, they've all got their own units, they can all set their own temperatures. Even the crew cabin has its own unit and can set its own temperature. And then big fans in here, huge exhaust systems, and those silver coloured pillars at the back, those are the fuel tanks. But again, like I said earlier, it's very Princess, well lit, well laid out, loads of headroom. Last thing then, I think, is the crew cabin. So we'll head back out of here. Drop that back down. And we'll find the crew cabin back here. These are neat, these are rope lockers. I've mentioned these before. Again, we're in the med so we can see them actually in use. When you bring your ropes in, you can winch yourself in to the quay. With these, drop the ropes away out of the way. Those black fellas are the switches that power these winches. And that's the high-low button for the bathing platform so that you can launch the tender off it. And down here we will find the crew cabin. I like the fact they put a little seat in here, so when the tender's launched you can sit here, swim off the back of the boat. All very nice. Now this cabin is in use. There is a skipper that is living on here, so we won't dwell in here because it's his private area, but he did tell me I could have a quick look. So, twin beds, only one in use. There's a boosted board asleep on the other one. And obviously you've got quite a lot of kit in here at the minute, so as I say, I'm not going to hang around, but that's the climate control. Light switch is there, and then here's the loo. And in fact you do have a proper separate shower in there as well. Excellent. This, for example, is storage and wardrobe, so there's a bit of space to put stuff away as well if you want to. Cool, let's come back out. That's the shore power inlet. So when you're in the marina, when I mentioned the 240 volt power, that's where it goes in. And of course out at sea, you can fire up your generators if you need the power out there. Excellent. Didn't show you earlier, life raft storage in behind there. So you just release that catch at the end. I think the life raft is ready to go. That's about it. I'm going to sit in this comfy seat here, I think, and say thank you very much first of all to Princess Motor Yacht Sales who arranged that tour. And it's great to be able to show you this boat actually in a Mediterranean setting, because I talk often about the seating areas on the bow or the passerelle or the stern to berthing. Well, here you can see it all in action, so that's been really pleasing. I've got a few videos going on down here in Mallorca, so if you've not subscribed, hit that button, hit the bell, it'll let you know when they're coming, and it helps the channel as well, so I'd really appreciate it. And as ever, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.